Hello, everybody.
We're not doing an intro video.
No intro. The name says it all. We call this a not so lively impromptu live chat. That's a throwback.
That harkens back to the good old days.
Hey, we got iPod Walker, Kodak Tackman, and Dustin from Guns of the West is in.
And we're living up to the name. It ain't so lively yet.
We got two. But I think we got more than that.
Excess of mess back here that's more than normal. At least it looks more normal. I'm in the process of redoing my house, so.
Yeah, I got a little bit of mess going on. I don't have an excuse. I just threw it all on the chair and went on live.
Started a major project today of many major projects I got to do. Oh, yeah. Everything's all over.
Was that the train I heard?
No, that was something else.
Oh.
That was a dog sitting by my chair.
Carson Branham is in. Oh, Kodak Tackman said, just restarted my phone to get on the good old YouTube and find there's going to be a live chat. Lucky. Yeah, we just hadn't done one in like a month.
Yeah, I haven't been on one of these for a month, yeah.
So we thought well, our schedules have been all conflicted. Your work schedule.
Yeah, like I had to change my schedule at work for 2 weeks. Plus I've been busy on my days off, going and seeing a person. So,
hey person, all those poor broken-hearted females out there, Duke's off the market.
So anyway,
I hope he stays off the market for a while. Oh, David W. is in, says good to see you. Diane Houston says good evening, gentlemen. Kodak Tackman said, hey. They lied. Right over. Yeah. So, guys, this is nothing. We just thought we were having a conversation anyway. We were talking about doing some reenacting and whatnot, and we just decided we'd jump on live stream and share it with you guys. So if you guys got questions, comments, or concerns, throw them out there.
Or if you want to chew us out, we can handle that too.
Well, Duke can. I'm sensitive.
Yeah, he don't like them bad words.
Duke works with the public.
One of these days I ought to just list off all the bad words I'm not allowed to say. Who was that comedian that did that?
I have no idea.
George Carlin got up there on the stage one day on live TV and said, "These are all the words you're not allowed to say on live TV," and went through them all.
Yep. Carson Branham said, good to see you boys in Tornado Alley are still with us. Been scary over in that country. Yeah, they've been going north and south of us. It's like I told Duke. The old timers always told me if they built their town on the connection of a creek and a river, you'll never get hit by a tornado. And thus far in the last 170 years this little town's been here, it's kind of panned out.
Yeah, that's also one of those things too, is like, yeah, all it takes is one.
Yeah. No, don't you understand when that tornado sees the river, it just lifts its skirt and hops over.
Shh.
He's doing good. He's trying to get back into nice guy mode here.
I'm trying to get back into filtered mode. It's taking some effort.
It's fun though. Oh, just thank Jimmy Stewart and you'll be fine. Oh, we're having too much fun. Man, I tell you what.
Fair warning, this may become a salty version before we're done.
Oh, man. Oh, you know Mom and Dad always put a Democrat. Never mind. We're not getting into politics, by the way. That was not a free shot.
Oh, dang.
Oh, Tales of the Buffalo Trace is in. Hi, and I see. I don't think I've ever seen you here before. That's a cool name.
Yeah.
Andrew Ryder said upcoming canoe gun video. Yeah, it will be. When that gun was so shattered into a gazillion pieces, the mainspring was broken. Well, it was made not usable, and we tried several different ways of fixing it, including a hot weld on it, but it wouldn't work. So finally ordered one from the rifle shop, and that's what we were waiting on. It got in, and now all I'm waiting on is Ethan has to harden it. But yeah, the gun is done. As a matter of fact, Noah, my brother Noah, owns it now, and we'll be making a video on it. He made me a set of moccasins and helped me make a haversack and a bullet pouch. And I traded him that gun for that. And I said, oh, that's what it is. It's a trade gun. Oh, yeah, his first time here. Well, welcome in. I'm pretty sure we'll find something that you're interested in to talk about. But yeah, canoe gun video upcoming, blanket gun, canoe gun, whatever you want to call it. Do kind of help me with that. We went through a lot of pictures before I got settled on what I wanted to do with that.
Yeah, we did quite a bit of research on that project.
It's going to be a cool gun. Just a little too early for what we've been talking about a lot here lately.
Yeah. Well, you might let you might bring that up there when we go to that Fort Larned thing. Let Sheldon use that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that would probably work.
Yeah. But now the only project I've been working on is.
Now that's very time period correct. I like that.
Yep. Getting my deer hide gauntlet, but the thing was, the deer hide I used was a little too thick.
Yeah.
And so I cannot make a good tight grip.
If it's just like any other hide, it'll work in, and you want it thick if you're going to handle some wire or something at some point.
But no, that's good brain tan. It's stronger than chrome tan.
Yeah.
But the gauntlet, I was surprised the skirt on the gauntlet is huge. So it'd be great if you got a coat on in the wintertime and it just go right over and seal everything up.
19th century welding glove.
Yeah, no kidding. Thing is, I tried shooting. I tried manipulating a pistol with it, and everything's so tight I can't work a firearm with it.
It'll wear in.
Yeah,
wear it a lot. I kind of wondered, was there a special blacksmith's gun or glove in the era, or was it just something like that?
I don't know.
I wonder if they had.
A lot of old school blacksmiths I know said don't ever use a glove because you get burnt worse with a glove on than you do with a glove off.
I've heard that, or welders anyway, but a lot of them, of course, they wear gloves to handle the metal and move it around. But I do know what you're saying as far as like a blacksmith on fire. So I've been on a rural fire department for almost 20 years now, and I discovered that I like to wear that equipment, but you don't know you're hot till it's too late. And then you're like, oh, it's really hot. You can't get away from it.
Yeah, once your glove catches on fire, it's hard to get off. That leather shrinks up.
I've never caught a glove on fire.
But no, big thing I use welding gloves for is not to protect my hands from the hot metal I'm using, but just protect my hands from the sparks. That's really the only thing that it does any good for is the sparks.
Well, they're good for like holding a piece of pipe from further down and moving it around and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it's good for that, but that's about it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we need to take that gun up there. I need to. I'm debating which holster we ought to take.
Hell, any of the Slim Jims ought to work, but
I'm just debating which one, black or tan.
It's not like you got a shortage of Duke Fraser holsters.
I think the last count I had 22 of them. So might have to grab those pommel holsters too, maybe.
Now they're basket weave. They won't fit in time period.
Oh, they won't? Too late?
Yeah, basket weave is way too late.
I got you.
Yeah.
I did not know. Those things always confuse me of what time period they are.
But yeah, that's kind of what me and Garrett have been chatting about. I just now got the notification we went live.
We're live.
Yeah, there's a living history event out in Fort Larned. I'm going to head to it, and Garrett's going to be coming there, and a couple of my buddies that do living history. And so, yeah, that's kind of what we've been trying to figure out because
I'm a newbie.
Oh, let's see. Diane's got a question there. Where can I find a decent leather strap for a powder horn? Track of the Wolf has some decent stuff usually.
Well, it depends on what you want to do, where you want to go, because not always where they You know, like an Eastern Tennessee poor boy might have just a piece of leather strap, but
Yeah.
somebody that's got a decent horn might have a nice woven strap like the one that you put on that buffalo horn. Let me grab that right quick. I'll bring it up.
And that one, that is a Track of the Wolf. I'm pretty sure that's Track of the Wolf strap. But I started beading that thing, and I got about 2 inches done, and then I quit. But anyway, yeah. Track of the Wolf has some good ones. I can't think of anybody else off the top of my head. Yeah, if you're just wanting to go for a poor boy strap, just get a piece of deer leather and just cut a straight piece. I did that on one of my powder horns. I don't even know where it's at anymore. And or you just go online and get you you can just buy like a belt, leather strap belt. I don't know. I get a 3/4 inch or so.
See, this is the one Duke made this horn up, and I bought it from him as a good Northwest trade gun horn because it was pretty indicative of the mountain man era with the buffalo. And so I really like that. I put a 80 grain measure on it now, but this strap, which is pretty historically correct as far as I can tell, has brass rings and leather hang down, and Duke started to beat it.
I started it, but I didn't finish it.
But I left it on there just for the fun of it. That looks like a lot of work.
Actually, that's the easy part.
But
that one was easy.
Well, these just I don't know what this is made out of. It feels like hemp.
Yeah, it's jute.
Jute, yeah. But yeah, I really like that. I have a horn for smaller rifles. This is my smoothbore horn. And Duke, when he first got this horn, had trouble getting that spout open. Don't have no trouble now.
Yeah, that spout, it was all for looks.
I put a bend in it, and I tightened the spring.
The spring that they sent with it, what they call the spring is not what I would call a spring. It was soft metal, and we tried to temper it, and it never worked. So what I did is I went to an old lawnmower, and old pull lawnmowers, if you ain't familiar with it, they got a spring that keeps that thing wound up so you can pull it. And
that's what that is.
That one of them, and I cut that spring to length, and I drilled a hole in it and put it in there, and it worked real good ever since.
I've been using it pretty religiously anytime I take a smoothbore out.
But the only thing is that type of nozzle on the powder horn, they're not very waterproof.
No, but it's sufficient. It's historically accurate to an extent, and it's sufficient for what we're doing today. If it's raining, I'm not usually out there.
Somebody told me that's what the British used on like cannons and stuff for priming cannons.
Oh yeah, well you can see pictures of spring-loaded brass tips all the way back into the matchlock era.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a thing that would have been a lot more expensive, but at the same time, all my horns have some sort of spring-loaded latch. Ethan and Caleb have the fiddle peg horns.
Right.
But all mine have some sort of spring-loaded latch because I don't like messing with any of that mess.
But that came from a kit from Track of the Wolf.
Yeah. The horn too, everything did?
No, just the spout.
Okay,
I paid $45 for the spout kit.
Did the plug come from Track of the Wolf too? Or did you carve that?
I carved it. All the rest of it was me.
Oh, the buffalo horn you got and everything?
Yeah, the buffalo horn, that horn I got from another company. I don't even remember who I bought them from. I bought a bunch of them. That was the biggest one.
Well, I've used it like crazy.
Yeah, then I bought that spout kit because that was when I was starting to work down at Bent's Fort, and I wanted to carry it at Bent's Fort, and they said that spout was not period.
Who said that spout was not period?
Well, by the time you get in the 1840s, they weren't very common.
Well, that's true, but by the time you get into the 1840s, horns weren't very common. People had hung flasks.
Yeah, they were starting to go with flasks by then too. Yeah.
So, yeah. A good movie.
Yeah, I had another buffalo horn that had just a simple stopper, and that's what I used for years down there.
Yeah. I get it if you said it was like 1840s, but in my mind, when you say Bent's Fort, for some reason I go 1830s. I know that's not right.
Well, it did start in 1830s, but we portrayed 1846.
Oh, gotcha. So you were way on farther down then. And for like 1820s and 30s, that would be perfect.
Yeah.
One movie I was talking to Snapper about the other day because he found an old dram flask at a local flea market. I think one of the old dram twist flasks for like a smoothbore.
Right.
And so I showed him that the Kentuckian with Burt Lancaster in it. He has one of those that he wears instead of a horn, and it's pretty cool watching him use it in that movie.
Right. I think if you go back and watch Jeremiah Johnson, one of the horns he has on has a spout just like the one that I
wouldn't be surprised. I
remember right. That's where I got the inspiration for it.
Yeah. Let's see. Jay Wheeler's in, said, howdy, fellas. Chris Klein. Diane Houston asked about the leather strap. Yeah, like I said, just bear in mind what you're doing. Like a mountain man, if given a chance, I see like a poor Tennessee fella, he'll have just like what I got on my Tennessee horn, just a braided piece of leather. But somebody that might be, a little better off might have that woven strap.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Ryder, opinions on Sitting Fox muzzle loaders. I've never used them. I've heard about them.
I heard they were pretty good.
I've heard both. I've heard people say that they're unbeatable, and then I've heard some people say that they had some pretty just people on YouTube, but had some pretty there's stuff.
Always anytime anybody makes guns, there's always the ones that aren't the greatest, and they always get better. If you look at my holsters, the holsters I was selling early on, not as good as the holsters that I make now. Of course, I haven't made any for a while. Speaking of which,
this is one of the last ones you made, and it's a beauty.
Yeah.
I'm really always like this one.
I don't want you boys thinking I forgot about you.
Yeah, we got some of the earliest Duke holsters, and we're going to have some of the last ones.
Right here, we got it. I just got to stitch it together. Try to get that done before Larned, but yeah, it's one of those that I'll do holsters again, but it's going to be a while.
Yeah,
I got too much going on right now to worry about that.
Yeah, it's kind of like us in videos. We got to start making them again someday.
And it's I'm probably going to have to start doing it again pretty quick because I'm going to need the extra money, but I just needed to take a break. I was getting burnt out on it.
Yeah. We have Jeremy Gunslinger. Hey, everyone. How's everyone? Hope y'all are doing good.
Hey, Jeremy, you still got that Sharps you trying to get rid of?
I guess that would fit in 1867 pretty good.
Yeah, it would.
Arizona Ghost Riders. Hi, Santi. Said, hey,
Santi!
Desperado historian miscreants. Yeah, have you ever noticed? I've just felt this here lately. Of course, we're kind of going back into the Indian Wars things, but just at the beginning of this year, I just had a strong pull for fur trade era for everything. You ever have that just randomly, and then you'll go for about 6 months, and that's all you want to talk about, all you want to think about?
Yeah, I did that when I was at Bent's Fort for about 8 years, and I got burnt out.
Now you don't want to do anything fur trade.
Yeah. And then I get up to Fort Laramie, and I'm thinking, yeah, I could start doing 1850s, 1860s, and we want you to do fur trade. Well, guess what? They were trading furs out here in 1850, so we're going to do that.
I'll never forget the first time I ever met you. You come out of that building in your fanciest vest and fanciest white shirt I've ever seen. Don't even think it was a wool vest. You had like a silk vest on.
No, it wasn't silk. It was a carpet vest.
Well, whatever it was, you were portraying the post-settler, and you was fancied up.
That's the only thing I could put together at that time that they had in stock, that they had the vest for and everything that I could find that would fit me.
Oh, so that wasn't your clothes?
That wasn't my clothes. That was their clothes.
Yeah.
I didn't have my own clothes at that point in time.
Very rarely do you see somebody in a Western or anything like that that's actually kind of dressed up like that, a little bit. And so it's like when you see it, you're like, man, that's a whole different ball game. And it really is kind of cool to see. It's not just your average cowboy.
That's why at the end of that, I started playing a scout because one of the guys I worked with there gave me his buckskin jacket. I still got it around here somewhere. And I put that buckskin jacket on, and I didn't have to wear that fancy vest, and I could wear my Union blue trousers, and I actually look more historic that way than I did. Was the post sutler with the fancy vest.
Hey, fancy vest.
Ah!
That's all I could think of when you said that. Another one I haven't watched in a long time.
But yeah, that was a bright blue carpet type of material. Yeah, it was like carpetbagger material, but bright blue, and
it looked different. I'll say that much for it. I didn't at first. I was took back by it. Then it was kind of like it's all right. It's different.
Yeah.
No, not everybody's got to look the exact same.
Than it was 1850s, but that was a point in time at Fort Laramie when historical accuracy was not really high on the priority.
You don't have a non-disparagement clause, do you?
Let's just say that me and Fort Laramie, they parted ways with me, so I'll say whatever I feel like.
It's all good.
And trust me, it's taken a lot of filter.
So what's funny is we started chatting. I think you might have still been working at Bent's, and then you went through some other stuff, and then you went to Fort Laramie, and it's been quite a ride, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
All around the West and back home.
Yep.
All right, let's see. The best badness, hiya gents. Arizona Ghost Rider said Tales of the Buffalo Trace is a good name. Timber Drifters in said good evening, gentlemen. Been listening. Watching Best Badness said 420K said watching Centennial did that to me quite a bit as a kid. And Arizona Ghost Rider said fur trade is a fascinating era. Turkey Creek's in one of my inspirations for the fur trade stuff. Said just saw this, howdy y'all. Man, he's working on a Virginia iron mounted Virginia rifle for the fur trade era. I can't wait to see it. Osage River Ranger said ORR, maybe you understand this. ORR is a new character for Tim, the Crisco Kid.
Oh yeah, the Crisco Kid. Yeah.
The Crisco Kid. I forgot about the Crisco Kid. That's funny. Yeah. The Crisco Kid.
You had Garrett confused there for a minute.
I forgot about the Crisco Kid. I've had so many others since then. Arizona Ghost Rider said, "Fancy Duke, say it ain't so." Oh yeah, he was fancy. As a matter of fact, I got a video of him in those clothes.
Yeah.
It's up on the channel too.
That's the thing. It's like when people record me when I'm talking about history, I go back and it's like, I actually said that. God, I was wrong.
I think it happens to everybody.
Oh, like, damn.
Easy now. I don't want to have to edit this. Easy.
Hey, that word's in the Bible. There's 3 words you can get away with. Hell, damn, and the A word, because they're all 3 in the King James Version.
Used in context. You got to be expository about that, man. Don't be topical. Believe me, I've been to Bible college. I know all those fancy words. Oh, Jeremy Gunslinger said it has already been rehomed. Working on getting a double barrel shotgun muzzle loading. Cool. You missed out on the old sharps, dude.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, El Dorado. That's right, Santee. Best Badness 420K said I listened to that movie this morning at work. Outlaw Man said, as a former sight interpreter, Duke, I understand about needing that filter.
Oh boy, yeah.
Todd B said, Duke, I miss your holster sewing live streams. The old Bowflex.
Someday they may come back. I'm not completely out of the holster business because, I mean, I've got too much invested in the leather tools to give it up. I mean, I'm sitting on probably a couple grand worth of tools, if not quite that. So it's not done. I've got too much going on. I just don't have time for it anymore.
Jeremy Gunslinger said someone bought Thompson Center and they might start making side locks again.
Oh, nice.
Born Broder, I can personally attest to Duke's lack of filter.
Yes, he can. And it's Bjorn.
Bjorn, is that not what I said?
Bjorn Broder.
That's what I thought I said. Oh, anyway. Oh, if you guys got any questions or anything for Duke or I, throw them out there. We're just having too much fun tonight.
Yeah, this is just kind of a fun way. I mean, we haven't had Tales of the Trails for over a month because I've been focused on the podcast so much that I just ain't had time. And like I said, I've got other things going on too that are more important to me than YouTube.
More important to you than all of us.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's okay.
But
bound to happen sooner or later.
Right. And yeah, it's just one of those things. And then with my work schedule, changed over the last 2 weeks. That was the biggest thing because I still have Wednesdays free. Usually my Mondays and Tuesdays are my days off that I reserve. But yeah, I haven't had a Wednesday off for a couple of weeks. So, and I'm not even sure if I'm going to have tomorrow off or tomorrow free.
Yeah, but, Todd B, it's a mule.
I ain't going to repeat that one.
Oh, man. Arizona Ghost Riders, what is your feeling on people carrying more than one extra cylinder for their percussion firearms? I'll start because I'll go back and then let Duke have all the fun stuff. It did happen. It definitely happened with the Texas Rangers and the early Patterson Colts. And after that, it may have happened after the Civil War when spare cylinders were available. Take it away, Duke.
So I dove into this because you always hear it. My God, the Remington was better during the Civil War because I could swap the cylinders real easy. Well, I went out looking for the source of that information, trying to find out where they talk about swapping cylinders in Remingtons very easily. I looked high and low. I have yet to find any source that talks about swapping the cylinder of a Remington. However, I found source on top of source on top of source of people carrying spare cylinders for Colt revolvers and swapping the cylinders on Colt revolvers. One was a case of a Pony Express rider that didn't want to carry a big, heavy gun. Of course, they couldn't really. They needed to get the horse there fast. So he had a 51 Navy and 2 extra cylinders that he kept loaded in his pocket. Then I found one where 12 of the 2nd United States Dragoons in the 1850s under General William S. Harney were set aside and given extra cylinders for their revolvers because Harney wanted to test it in the field to see if it was viable to swap cylinders to reload. That's the only place where the military actually carries spare cylinders for reloading. It's with Colt Dragoons. So the whole thing of the Army doing that, and the thing of it is that that rumor has gotten so bad that there is a, I'm not going to say what store it is, but there's a store out there that does reenactment gear that has freaking cylinder pouches.
Now I wonder if early 1870s that might have been a thing.
The Army never adopted it.
And not the Army.
Cylinders on the Remingtons, you don't start seeing that pop up until the cartridge era.
Yep.
So right at the end of the Civil War when they start doing the cartridges, because yeah, you got to swap the cylinder out to put the cartridge cylinder in. But the whole Imperial Rider thing, having 20 some odd cylinders on the belt. One, you're going to have a pair of suspenders for the gun belt because that's going to weigh more than freaking cavalry belts did.
Here we go. I'll tell you this, as a guy who's handled a lot of originals, about one of every original Colt except for the first model Dragoon and the Walker, and I've held a lot of original Remingtons as Snapper, who's worked on a lot of original Remingtons. I've never seen an original Remington that would swap between models very well cylinders because unbelievably Colt was very good even during Civil War time of making guns that were interchangeable, and that was hard to do back then. Even in the 1860s, the government had only been doing it for about 15 years at that point, getting complete interchangeability. But then you throw Remington, and it's not bashing them, but Remington was thrown into the fire in the middle of the war. As far as all of a sudden we have this huge order, get out there and everybody start hand filing these pieces to fit. Now, the caveat I have to that is I've never handled a post-war Remington, and I've heard that they are far and away better. But
here's the thing on Remington, you can fit a cylinder to the gun, but you can't fit the gun to the cylinder. Or excuse me, you can fit the gun to the cylinder, you can't fit the cylinder
to the gun. Yeah.
Because they don't have the teeth that a Colt has.
Yeah. Colt had superior. Colt had already had over 20 years or almost 20 years head start on the war of getting it just right. Whereas when it came to making pistols, Remington was just thrown right in there. I mean, they'd made a few, but as far as mass production, they kicked off in 1863 like really hard, and it took them a little while. And that's no slam on them, because Colt Walkers and Dragoons and all that, they weren't that well fitted in their early years either. No. It just takes time to get that machinery down.
It does. So, and Remington, that's not saying they don't make good guns. They made excellent rifle or excellent muskets. Remington Falls.
Yep.
But yeah, the handguns, they were just, and I've said this before, every company goes through it. It's like Tissot. When Tissot started making 1911s, they weren't considered high end. The triggers were terrible. The actions were stiff, and now you buy a Tissot and ain't much difference between it and an actual Colt.
Mm-hmm. I don't find anything wrong with the Remington revolvers either, technically. The only thing I found wrong with them was I grew up around that older reenactment group that just preached day and night. You got to have these because you can swap the cylinders. And it got so old, they always tell me, don't get a Colt, don't get a Colt. You'll get cap jams, this and that. So when I finally got a Colt clone, I was like, this is sweet. There's nothing wrong with this. And then after 15 years with a Remington, I kind of just put them away, and I thought Colt's the way to go.
Yep.
Oh, let's see. There was a few more questions here. Yeah, Clint Eastwood isn't the source. Same thing. Oh. Timber Drifter said, well, there was that one Western movie that featured swapping cylinders as always a good idea to use Hollywood as a reference. Joshua Harris said, hello, how's it going? What did I miss? Not much. Somebody asked a question if we were going somewhere. I must have missed that one. Oh, yeah. Andrew Ryder said, I know this is a little advanced, but are y'all planning on coming to the... I heard that as Alfalfa. It's Alafia River Rendezvous?
Alafia River Rendezvous? Never even heard of that one.
Me neither. I don't go to many unless one or two a year, and I'm wondering it's going to be one of them. I always attend it as a person just going to see it, but maybe this is the first year I get to actually go do some reenacting.
I don't even have the gear for fur trade. I pretty much have gotten my gear for 1860s through 70s.
Yeah. Well, I got the gear for fur trade now, at least for the most part, but at least for summer fur trade. We ain't ready for no hard winters yet. Let's see. Somebody else there was that.
Oh, Alafia River. It's down in Florida. Yep. No, ain't coming to that one.
It's probably not going to get down there for that one.
Far for me.
I've been down in that country. Closest I ever got was Georgia.
Times I want to go to Florida, and there's other times that it's like, nah, I just don't need to go see old people.
Don't be cruel. Let's see.
Well, isn't it like Hawaii and Florida or their nursing retirement
home now? But they don't have income tax.
That's true. That is true.
Okay, so Joshua Sayers, I read that one. Okay, Osage River Ranger said after the war, 1870 Remington came out with a cartridge era cylinder. They did, yeah. They paid the license to Smith & Wesson for it right off the bat. And so that would have obviously... That's one case where swapping the cylinders would have happened, because that particular conversion cylinder, you have to take it out to... Well, not necessarily swap it, but you take it out to load it. Bang Bang, do you know where the Osage River starts? No, I do not. Let's see. Tails of the Buffalo Trace said Alafia River, great rendezvous.
Southeast, I think I'd say is a great rendezvous.
Can't read all that in one word.
Yeah, Alafia River is a great rendezvous.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, Southeast Kansas, multiple sites. You know, I've been all over the world. Very little bit of time in my life have I actually spent right down the road in Southeast Kansas. I haven't been all over the world. Been all over the United States, but very little of that time have I spent actually in the southeast corner of Kansas. Now, the northeast corner of Kansas, spent quite a bit of time up there. But okay. Jeremy said y'all could swing by Arkansas. Andrew Ryder said, honestly, way to jot down here, gets up to 110 in the summer. Way too hot down here. Gets up to.
That's before the humidity.
Todd B said, Garrett, any feedback on your 1868 versus 1870 Springfield video? Yeah, a little bit. I expected it when I did it, but that's just where it is.
Carl, that's not an 1870.
That's what I think a whole lot of people that were being nice were screaming at the screen in that video.
Have you ever seen the llamas with hats videos?
Uh-uh.
Oh, God.
I'll have to watch it, I guess.
You gotta watch it. Carl.
I thought you were doing Steve Urkel for a minute.
No.
Carl? Oh.
Carl, that's historically inaccurate.
Arizona Ghost Rider said, plus everything in Florida is shrimp colored.
God. Well, except for one golf course, those little things are a little orange around
there. That one more one. Okay, Best Badness said, I feel bad to ask, but where do you get your leather for your holsters, Duke?
Springfield Leather Company. It's one place I can find Herman Oak that they actually a pretty reasonable price. They charge you the actual square footage, well, as close as they can. A lot of other stores, they sell you a half a hide on, and they price it as what the maximum would be, but you may not get that much leather. You may get a few square feet shorter. But with Springfield Leather, you get what you pay for. The only thing they've got on the set prices is some of their sides, like the Herman Oak. Like I'd buy the cheaper ones, and they'd have a set price on those, but you're still getting a pretty good deal on them.
Yep. Let's see. Just to go back to what Todd B said about making that video, the 1868 versus 1870. One of the things that I have noticed is a lot of people have actually emailed me with at least 4 with corrections that they've been able to correct people that were attempting to sell a gun. So there's 4 corrections. Hopefully we get a lot more. Let's see. And some people are emailing me and saying we can't get them to change it. So I guess it's okay. Okay, Timber Drifter said, I don't see all the comments you read. Is there a place where I can? I haven't figured out how to do it, but since we're simultaneously streaming on 2 channels, you won't see, if you're either on Duke's channel or my channel, you won't necessarily see the chat from the other channel. I think there's a way to combine them, but I've never figured it out yet.
Yeah. So the thing of it is we're seeing.
We see all of it.
So some people are watching it on mine. Some people are watching it on Garrett's end. And that's the one downside to broadcasting across multiple channels, but we also get more views doing it that way.
Yep.
Not that my channel adds that many more views, because my channel's slowly getting shadow banned because I just don't upload enough over there.
Yep. Atlatl Man said, what are the best rendezvous left to go to anyway? Any east of the Mississippi?
There's a few over there. Check out the AMA, American Mountain Men Association, AMA.
Yeah.
Or AMMA. Yeah, check them out. That's the ones that the American Mountain Men, you get more stitch countery over there. Not 100%, but you get more stitch countery. That's where you're going to go. If you're wanting like good historically accurate, we're talking you're not going to see anybody walking around with Davy Crockett coonskin caps with the fur face on the front of it. It's going to be, more traditional, more what you would actually see out west. That's not saying that fur hats weren't common. You do see them talked about, but they're not the Davy Crockett style. You're not going to see the bright gold buckskin pants or buckskin shirts. Thompson Center Hawkins, you're not going to see them. That's the stuff with the American Mountain Association. You're going to see the authentic stuff. So yeah, I would check out their site and see what's in the area. Sometimes those things aren't really for the public. They're more for the reenactors. They're there for, a learning experience, a living history experience. But they do have some of them that are open to the public that are, like an educational encampment sort of thing.
Mm. And if you're just wanting to go to a big shoot and have fun, there's always Friendship, Indiana.
Yeah.
Kind of a rendezvous. Osage River Ranger said Florida's okay in the winter. Lived there since 74. Live in the Ozarks for the summers. Jeremy Gunslinger said I got to finish a video of the Hot Springs history plaques from the mine. The old lady's trip there. Llamas with hats takes me back, says Kodak Tackman. Kodak Tackman, Carl, what's wrong with you? I don't know about this. This might be something I have to watch.
Yeah, it's llamas with hats. You've got to go look up llamas with hats.
Is it old YouTube stuff or something?
No, it's the
TV.
It was an old cartoon that make you question humanity.
Oh, okay.
It's not real bad, but it's funnier than heck. It's my kind of humor.
Oh, Ethan chimed in. He said, "Don't mind me. I'm just sitting in Garrett's garage tempering springs for the wheel lock in a lead pot. Well, do it right this time. Don't break all of them again."
Works very slowly at putting tension on spring. Don't tension it all at once. You got to ease into it. You got to do the foreplay with it.
Andrew Ryder said, "Hot take, Thompson." Okay, I gotta talk about this one because at one point, I had just about one of every replica, quote unquote, Hawken that was made, and I still got a lot of them. I don't have my Lyman Great Plains anymore. I didn't have the Browning mountain rifle. I always wanted that one, didn't get it. Then the more study I did on it, I lost interest in like 99% of them. The difference is the Thompson Center has a special place in my heart because that was the first muzzleloader I shot. And it was my uncle's. And they're really, really well-made guns. They're really accurate. I mean, they just shoot lights out, but they're not Hawkins. That's the trouble. They're not Hawkins.
Yeah.
That being said, if I was taking of any of those guns, just taking one out to get a deer or something with of your traditions or your CVA or your UCAR or your, all that era, I'd take a Thompson because it just looks better, or the Invest Arms even. If I was trying to be historically accurate, I'd still go with that Lyman Great Plains because it at least looks kind of right. But for what it is, and the Hawken that they have, if you don't have all the Thompson Center has, if you don't have the one with the fiberglass sights and all that stuff, is actually not too terribly far off from a late Lehman rifle.
Yeah.
A half stock, say an 1880s Lehman rifle even is kind of weird to think about. But with all that brass and that fancy trigger guard, it's not too far off from a half stock Lehman. It's too short a lot of times, but I don't hate them because that's where a lot of people started. And if you don't have those entry-level guns, a lot of people don't get into it. Your entry level was an Invest Arms, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, my first muzzleloader was a Kentucky, it was a Cabela's Blue Ridge rifle, which is a Pedersoli made gun.
Yep.
And it's kind of their Lehigh style, real thin stock that kind of droops down.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first one. My next one was the Invest Arms. And I don't know, my take on them is that if you show up to one of my reenactments,
don't do that.
I'm going to send you home. Or I'm going to take it away and tell you go put it in your car. And if you refuse, I'll throw it in the freaking river. But if you show up at the hunting woods with me in muzzleloader season with that, yeah, it's going to be one of the better ones you're going to have out there because they're made so well.
That good 1 in 48 twist.
So if you're wanting a muzzleloader for hunting purposes, absolutely. Thompson Center is perfect.
And it's still historic enough to really make me feel like in the woods, that you're like, this is traditional muzzleloading hunting, side lock. But it's just, it's not 100% historically accurate, but man, they shoot lights out.
So it's great for going in the woods where you're going to beat up a gun because they're not as expensive.
Well, they're getting there now because they haven't made them in a long time.
Yeah. But for reenactment stuff, no, it's not going to work there just because there's too many. I had this discussion with Garrett about guns. What was it, yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
At reenactments, we don't get stitch countery on a lot of the guns.
I'm the opposite. I don't know the clothes, but I know the guns.
But that's one of those that's like, it's on, if you put it on the scale, 1 being complete farb and 10 being, stitch countery to, you're basically going to catch syphilis. You're such that deep of a reenactor. Thompson Center is going to rank right about between 1 and 3. So I always try to, I always tell people I try to stay in about 7. I don't want to get so far to the stitch counter that, I start being one of those stitch counter snobs, but I try to keep it at about a 7.
Yep.
And you can do that, and for the amount that you're going to pay for, the Thompson Centers now, you can get a pretty decent, more historically accurate reproduction out there.
Now, there's things you can do. So above my head right there is a CVA mountain rifle. And when I got it, it was junk. But I took, at least the CVA mountain rifle, one of the reasons I got it is it's iron mounted with a pewter nose cap and double wedges. So a lot more like an original Plains gun than a lot of these reproductions. And then what I did was I took the small brass that they did have, escutcheon plates, replaced those with bigger iron ones. I went through and I polished that pewter down until it looked like an iron nose cap. I aquafortised the stock so it looked like original maple. Then I browned the barrel, stripped the barrel down, and browned it like an original gun. And that gun, in my opinion, would pass for a mid to later Plains rifle. I think would pass the test of what. And I don't know a lot about the clothing like Duke does, but I know the guns. That gun would pass for a off-brand Plains gun, and I think you'd get away with it. But it's been redone, like a lot of parts in this place.
Spend the money, redoing a Thompson Center to make it right. The biggest thing that's going to stand out is the barrel, the barrels for the ramrod, because they're held in by a flathead screw.
Oh yeah,
and the others are cleaned in.
Yeah. And that's something I did on that. I filed the screw heads off after they were in.
If you want to get a cheaper one, that'd be perfect. Get the Lyman Great Plains rifle.
Yeah,
that's perfect for 1840.
Or now it's just basically the Invest Arms Gimmer because Lyman's not making that exact model anymore.
Yeah, the Invest Arms Gimmer. Then so that'd be a great one. But you can go on Track of the Wolf, and if you've got some skill with woodworking and such, you can get a kit for, probably $700-800. Of one of those historical accurate guns and put together.
The thing that stands out to me that sets one of those off from even a good reproduction is from a mile away. The wood on the blue ink's too bright and the finish is too smooth. And so, if nothing else, I like to get that bright blue off. I hate that bright blue, and that's varnish looking finish and go with a more traditional finish. Then take that brass and tarnish it up a little bit. I mean, some people don't like that, and also we're talking about a fairly expensive gun now. And, some of those Thompson Center Hawkins running up there $800-900 now. You can get, like you were just saying, throw another $100 in and go get you a Kibler kit for about $13 or a little less.
Right.
Or something else, that's historically accurate. Let's see. Gray Pilgrim's in. He said, "Hey, yeah, I just watched your video before I came on. I'm sorry about losing your wallet. I lost my wallet too, but I don't think anybody stole mine. I think I just misplaced it." But Carol Joel said, "Greetings, everyone. What a pleasant surprise. I sat down to do some leather carving tonight and found you all are on."
Yep.
Ethan said, lesson learned, fire tempering with a torch doesn't work very well.
You think?
On a spring.
You think?
He's going too fast. The Best Badness 420K said there's a plugin that works for multiple platforms like YouTube and Twitch, but IDK if it'll work for 2 channels. Yeah, I'll figure it out. We pay for a premium for using StreamYard.
Hey, Ethan, instead of putting the spring directly in the fire of the torch, put it on a piece of flat iron and then put the torch under the flat iron.
He's doing it the correct way, the way he used to always do it. He got in a hurry and broke one, but the way he used to always do it was submerge it in a lead pot with melted lead. That's how he's back to doing it. He thought he'd try one time going through the fire and just getting in a hurry and broke his mainspring.
Yeah, no, fire heats too fast. You got to indirect heat.
Yeah, Gray Pilgrim. We usually do them on Wednesdays, and we may get back to that again, but it's just been a really weird couple weeks.
Yeah, it's been screwy, and my plans for today kind of got shot because things didn't work like I thought they were going to work. Basically, I'm redoing the bathroom, putting new floor and a new toilet in, and we had to put the new floor in before we put the new toilet in, and not like we're doing the subfloor and everything. I just ripped up the old tile and putting in a new tile. And the glue that I got, I thought I read on there that it would set up inside of an hour. No, it doesn't set up inside of an hour. So I wasn't able to finish all that tonight. But yeah, things I'm not finishing that. Here we are.
Joshua Sarah Harris said, have you guys done much SAS?
I wanted to get into it, but it was too expensive for me to even try. I could do it now. I've got enough guns that I could do it with, but I just don't have the money to shoot that much. Ammo is expensive, and sometimes them matches, you do 200 rounds a match.
Mm-hmm.
That's way too much to invest for me.
Yeah, even reloading is still expensive in primers. But I had a time when I wanted to do it, and I have a certain very limited amount of free time. And it was like, we're gonna start a YouTube channel, or we're gonna go do SAS. And at the time, I didn't have every gun I needed for SAS, so I started doing YouTube. And it's like, I know a lot of guys that do it, but I just would not have the time these days to invest in it. Okay. 11 Bang Bang said, I worked them in slow. I was just after several hundred dry firing sessions that my mainspring broke. Fire tempering is not the way. I've used lead pot. Yeah, I think I already explained all that. Jeremy Gunslinger said he's heading to bed. Wagon said, good chat. Thank you. Timber Drifter said, Jeremy Gunslinger, that link went to 11 Bang Bang. I don't see a way both of us as a viewer. I don't see a way to see both as a viewer. Doesn't seem possible from this side. Thanks for the link. Honestly, Andrew Ryder said, honestly, my first and only muzzleloader is a Thompson Center Hawken. Saved up my pennies for a nice kit. Or saving up my pennies, yeah. And like I said, for just going out and shooting, or even like going to Friendship, Indiana, or somewhere where it's not a historical thing, that 1 in 48 twist with one of them PA slugs that they make for those guns will just... I got videos of Caleb just putting a bullet after bullet after bullet in the same hole on his Thompson Center Renegade review. They really do shoot good. How was your Invest Arms as a shooter? Real good shooter?
At 50 yards, it'll shoot a straight line about that wide.
Oh, you're stringing.
It strings them in a straight line. And it's just like it just does them one after the other.
Huh. It's kind of like right there, I have that J.M. Burns 32 caliber squirrel rifle right there. It does the same thing.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but as that barrel warms up, it just starts. And then after you do it a while, it starts walking back the other way.
Yeah. Franklin Horst is in, says, hey, the Best Badness said, I think a spring broke and my Thompson Center hammer won't come down. Well, that could be one reason.
That would do it. Especially if it'll fall back down easily after you pull the trigger. That's a good indicator that it's broke.
Yep. Carson Branham said, Invest Arms Flintlocks Cabela's Hawken kit was at 58. Was my first one. That's a good starter.
I wished I could find one in 58. I'd love to have a 58.
You got to start somewhere, and that's a good place. Todd B said, Garrett, what's in your carry gun rotation? Right now, I am flipping back and forth. As I said before, 357 is minimum for me nowadays. So right now, I'm flipping back and forth between a 2 3/4 inch Ruger Security 6, and a 3-inch GP 100 and 44 special. Those are the two I've been going back and forth through here lately. Probably go to as summer wears on, I may go to a I can think of it. Charter Arms Bulldog and 44 special. A little smaller, easier to carry. How about you, Duke? What's in your carry rotation?
1911.
Well, that's one part of the rotation. What's part two?
That's the gun I carry every day.
Oh, well, I thought you were going to say that Smith & Wesson clone you have thing.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes I'll pack that somewhere. But
what is that thing?
It's a Taurus copy of a Smith & Wesson. I can't remember what the number order it is on it. But, yeah, I made the mistake one day, and I threw that in my back pocket on a day that I was a little warm and I was a little sweaty. And I pulled that thing out, and it was a rust bucket.
Yep.
Just sitting in my back pocket.
You have acid sweat, huh?
Yep.
Oh, Walter said Thompson Center Renegade that my uncle had was the first muzzleloader I shot 33 years ago. Yeah, a lot of guys started out on those. Ethan said anything made past a 1648 seems modern to me now. Gents looking into getting a muzzleloading finally. What's the best place to shop around for some muzzleloaders?
Track of the Wolf.
Just you have to bear in mind though, and you know him, so you probably know him better, but Track of the Wolf is probably the most difficult kit that is sold in kit form.
Well, I was gonna say, if you're looking for a kit, if you're looking for just one ready to go, Track of the Wolf usually has some in stock. They go through in stock one's pretty good. If you're looking for a kit, yeah, Track of the Wolf takes a lot to put them together.
Depends on what you're looking for. The Kibler kit is basically a gun in the white. It's like putting Legos together. You literally just, especially on their Woodrunner, you snap everything together. But those are all earlier flintlocks. If you're looking for a Mountain Man cap lock, you're either going to have to go to like a Pecatonica kit or a Track of the Wolf kit or something like that. Or, mind you, this is a historical accuracy thing that we always think of first. But if you're just looking for something, an Invest Arms Gimmer Hawkins a good place to start too. I will say this, as far as rifles go, if you're going to start cheap, I would start with a cap lock. Because as far as rifles go, cheap flintlocks are with the small locks. Now, I'm not talking about the India muskets. Like if you're looking for one of those India big bore muskets, they work pretty good, even though they're a little blocky, because they have giant military locks on them. So you get a lot of spark, and it's pretty reliable. But sometimes you got to watch out because those Italian and Spanish-made flintlocks, the locks aren't the best, and they're a little small. So if you're going to go cheap, I'd start with a cap lock for starting. You may decide you don't like it.
Yeah. The best flintlock I ever had, I sold it. It took me 3 tries with that company to get it right. It was the Pedersoli Brown Bess. It's like the Blue Ridge rifle, it was okay, but I couldn't hit the broadside barn with it. The Kentucky rifle I got from him, it was a tack driver. The problem was that it was also a flint eater, and it had this tiny little pan, it had like a pistol size lock on a rifle. And I shot it 3 times, and I got rid of the dadgum thing. And then I went and got a Brown Bess musket, and that thing, everything was right. It used the same flint. When I sold it to Ethan, I don't know how many rounds I put in through it, but that was the flint that came with the gun.
And he's put a lot more through it since then.
I've never swapped the flint. The geometry of that lock was just spot on. And yeah.
If you want to see that, look it up on Duke's channel or on our channel. It'll be under Guns of Revolution, Episode 1, the Brown Bess. There's a lot of shooting of it.
I don't think I've ever had a misfire with it where the pan didn't ignite.
What a lot of people don't get about those military guns. The huge lock, huge pan, shower of sparks. A lot of times, I mean, they can misfire like anything, especially if you let your flint get dull. But
yeah,
it's a lot less likely with that big giant lock, military style lock, than say what they call the little Becky lock that Traditions uses or something.
I'd be willing to put money down and said if you take that gun, even with no powder in the pan, just turn it kind of at a 45,
drop a spark in the hole,
and dry fire that with no powder in the pan, that gun will go off because there are so many sparks come off that one of them is going to drop through that hole.
Yep. Okay. All right. So I hope we answered your question there. I know we kind of went all over the place. I'll say this. If you think you're going to like it and you want to get into flintlocks, it's only about $1,100. I mean, I know that sounds like a lot. I've never met anyone who bought a Kibler kit who didn't like it. So there's that. Timbers Drifter said, question from Fur Trade 1820s or 30s. How common were pistols for the mountain men? Well, we've had this discussion a lot.
Oh, yeah. The mountain men had at least one pistol, a lot of times two. You see that pretty common. Jedediah Smith, when he got killed, had a pair. Yeah, you always see a pistol. They always talk about handguns, having handguns available.
And it, depending on the year, which you said through 1830s, late 1830s, you could have anything in the mountain man's holster from a flintlock naval giant pistol from the British military to a Colt Patterson revolver.
Yeah, now the Colt Pattersons are pretty rare when it comes to mountain man era.
But that's what I was saying. It could be. If you're portraying 1840, there's not necessarily anything wrong with having that in your portrayal, in my mind.
Right. The only thing is you don't see them mentioned with mountain men that were, had been trappers until you start getting into about 1842. All of a sudden, Colt Pattersons really start showing up in the West, mentioned 1842 and later.
Yep.
Because I think it was Kit Carson in 42.
Yeah, I was about to say Kit Carson was the one I had in mind who had it.
I think the Texas Rangers in 40, they got him in 43. And then in 42, Alexander Hamilton talks about Bill Williams' crew of mountaineers with him up in the Oregon, Idaho area. So, yeah, if you're going to be doing like 1830s, do not get a Patterson.
No.
Just a single shot flintlock or percussion. And once again, Trackle Wolf makes some great kits for those types.
And Duke can correct me here, but I've been doing some study on it here recently. The name Ketlin shows up a lot in the pistol world, in the trade ledgers.
Brass barrel Ketlin.
And if you really want one, Military Heritage sells an India-made one for about $400. It's called the Gentleman's Pistol. The only thing I would have wrong with it is the wood's a little thick on it. But if you don't mind a little woodwork and a little rasping, it can be taken down and made to look just like one. Ethan's actually got videos on doing that with their other guns too. But yeah, they sell. That's about the best deal you can possibly get to actually find a brass barrel gun, and it's actually marked Ketlin on the lock. So yeah, those seem to be everywhere. Let's see. Todd B said rent must be cheap living so close to the railroad tracks.
Rent is cheap because I pretty much own this place.
Yeah, own it. Lone Dragoon said, howdy, gents. Sorry, I haven't been able to catch too many streams. Don't worry, there haven't been too many streams. Yeah. Life and work has been nuts. Outlaw Man said, I have an Invest Arm Hawkins. I've been wanting to refinish the stock to make a bit more authentic. What would you recommend? Well, I'm not sure what Invest Arms uses on their wood anymore. A walnut stain would be good general if you're looking to make a Hawken, especially as you said, Invest Arms. If it's an iron-mounted gun, you can get really close by just staining it walnut, which was something that the Hawken brothers did use. Or I don't know what all the Invest Arms guns are. I don't know if they use some form of maple. But if they got any form of maple, even just sugar maple, that Aqua Fortis stain just makes it beautifully red.
Yeah.
That's what I did on mine. But if you're not sure what kind it is, just a walnut stain, make it look like a walnut gun. The darker, the better.
Route, it may be basswood, and good luck.
Yeah, walnut stain is be your best bet in that situation. Walnut stain and a brown barrel. Okay. Osage River Ranger said, I have used Invest Arms as a basis for 3 rifles. I bought the last left-handed flint and have been changing it into an offhand primitive target rifle. Cool.
There you go.
Invest Arms, especially like I said, they're Gimmer. Those guns are close. They've got a little bit of a belly, but that's okay. A lot of us do. Tales of the Trails, or Tales of Buffalo Trace said Kibler's a new kit coming, a Fowler. I saw that. Osage Ranger said torches work for screws. No, Zach, no, it is not. What do you guys think of a Deadeye competition? I have no idea. What is a Deadeye competition? Is that Red Dead Redemption?
No, I've never. I don't know what that one is. Yep. I'm going to have to run here in a minute. So,
all right, we'll get through these and then we'll get off of here. You got you go another 5 minutes?
Yeah, I can give another 5 minutes.
Okay. Walter said, my son's Cabela's Hawkins shoots round ball and Lee real bullet, super accurate. Okay. Gonna go to sleep now, Andrew Ryder said. Jesus Christ Saves said hi from Maui. Joshua Harris said a buddy traded me 2 muzzleloaders. One is a Thompson Center New Englander. Cool. I've never had that one. 54 caliber, pretty good copy of a 19th century English sporting rifle, and it shoots great. Franklin Horse said gun auctions are usually decent for traditions and TCs around here. Yeah, they usually sell pretty cheap, except for Thompson Centers. People still give a premium for those. God the Son, Jesus Christ Safe said favorite film, Jeremiah Johnson. Kodak Tackman said finished on some of the Tarish revolvers, especially from 10 years ago, weren't and aren't that great. Ethan said that brown best sure looks good on my wall under my French guns. But in all seriousness, that brown best is extremely reliable, very good gun. Osage River Ranger said my Investarm fired 20 good ignitions. Bjorn said, thanks, great feedback, gents. Franklin Horse said, night, fellas. Texas 1836 said, I'm late, boys. Glad y'all missed the monsoons down here in the Houston area. Glad we did, too. Best Badness said, I thought they had peacemakers in the 1830s, like in the Comancheros. Aquafortis works good on teeth. Oh, boy. Timber Drifter said, thanks. Good to see you, fellas. Deadeye competition is basically recession sash. You only need one gun. Oh, cool.
Okay.
Carson said, buenas noches, Comancheros. I don't speak Spanish, so anyway.
Buenas noches, Comancheros!
That's another one I haven't watched in a long time. Dear Mulehead, we didn't beat this boy enough when he was younger. President Paul Regret. What a name. President Regret. Since this here is Texas, we'll do her dishonest and illegal. That was a good one. I like that judge character. You got any money? Well, you'll get a fair trial. You got any money? No? Well, I'm beginning to doubt your chances against the law, son. We're doing this one for free. I did like Lee Marvin's character in that.
Yeah.
He come across pretty good.
Lee Marvin always played the bad guy, but my favorite movie with Lee Marvin is Donovan's Reef.
Oh, you like Donovan's Reef? Yeah, Donovan's Reef pretty good.
John Wayne is still playing John Wayne, but John Wayne's also having fun with it.
Oh yeah. It's a mixture of John Wayne and Marion Morrison.
And Lee Marvin, who usually plays a bad guy, is playing a total goofball. And it's like, yeah, it's a fun movie. It's just a fun movie. I love Donovan's Reef. That's probably, if you had to ask me, it's like my favorite John Wayne movie. That was probably up there very high. And Hatari is not too far behind it.
Hatari's really good. So, everybody always says, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Is Donovan's Reef a Christmas movie?
Technically it is.
Yeah, I think it is. The John Wayne Christmas movie.
Yeah, it is.
I ain't seen it in a long time, but it has that John Ford feeling.
It does. It does.
It does. It really does.
But yeah. Well, I suppose.
You gonna hop on out of here?
I'm gonna have to hop on out of here because I told somebody I was gonna call her 10 minutes ago. So
an hour and 10 minutes. That was a good chat. Well, thank you all for coming out. We'll do another one someday soon.
Yeah, I don't know when we'll do Tales of the Trails again because next few weeks are going to be really screwy for me. Might do one next week. Well, now I got to look at my calendar here. Let me check the calendar and we'll get things figured out. When are we due for Tales of the Trail?
Well, we've missed the last 2 or 3, so we can do it whenever.
Yeah, I just don't know where we're at on schedule and who's.
Well, nobody's lined up for the reload show, so we need to restart everything.
Yeah, so we might do one on the 15th next week, which is a Wednesday.
That'd be good.
See what everything's going on with my schedule. And then I'll be out there in Kansas on the 22nd, so we might do something out there.
That'd be good.
Yeah. And then I'll be back in Colorado by the 29th and probably looking for some rest and relaxation.
You're going to make quite the trip for a few days.
Guarantee you I'm going to need a bath by then.
You can sleep on the ground without a bath for 3 days. You're probably going to want to get home.
Oh, 4 days.
Yeah, I forgot. You're going the extra for the early night.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Yep.
So providing my old legs don't give out, because last time I tried sleeping on the ground, my knee, I couldn't walk for 2 days afterwards.
Well, yeah, you can always switch over to being a soldier. They get bunk beds.
No, no, I'm not going to be a walks a heap. I'm going to be a drinks a heap.
You're gonna have to bring a saddle. You're gonna have to bring a saddle and some lashes to tie you down.
Yeah, I'm working on the saddle. That's going to be in the future, but I'm working on the saddle. I got to get a really good paying job so that I can afford to do more of this reenactment, because I'd like to get a horse and I'd like to get a historic saddle. And
I'll bring you 2 horses. They're a little green.
I want a reliable horse.
Oh, you want everything.
Reliably, I don't want it to reliably buck me off every time I get on it.
Like Glenn Ford said in the Cowboys, you're either going to break that horse and ride it, or it's going to ride you.
Oh, my experience, I'd probably be more like Glenn Ford in the Rounders. I'm going to kill that knothead. I'm going to take him to the soap factory, and the first bar of soap I'm going to buy, and then I'm going to go roll in the muck, and then I'm going to take a bath with him, and I'm just going to laugh.
He had a line kind of like that in the Cowboys too, where he asked John Lennon, "I bet you love horses." "Oh, I love them." "Well, you're an idiot. Horse is a evil animal. The only reason we tolerate them is because it beats walking. They got a brain about that big." That's how he does it too. It goes from this down to that.
And then the other favorite one there is, I'm going to take that horse to the dog food factory, and the first can of dog food, I'm going to buy it. And then I'm going to go find the ugliest dog and feed that horse to that dog and sit back and laugh.
Glenn Ford, we're going on. We need to stop, but Glenn Ford was good. All right. Well, guys, we're going to jump on out of here. Thank you guys for watching. As always, I guess we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Have a good one.